One of the biggest is having to have a leader. So dogs have to have a leader in their pack, right? They don't understand any other way. If it's just you and them, then let's just say it's one person and one dog. That's the pack, right? So the leader has to dictate when feeding happens, where we're going, how fast we're going, whatever. If you, as the human, are not presenting yourself as a leader, then by default, the dog says, well, I guess I'm the leader, right? I have to be, there has to be one. There is no other way. And it can't be sometimes you're the boss over here, sometimes I'm the boss over here. It has to be 100% the human is the boss. I like to say if we were stuck out in the woods, probably be better to follow them, let them lead, right? But we live in a society where there's people, there's laws, there's crosswalks, there's traffic, there's all kinds of things. So we have to be that leader for them. They don't know any other way. Well, a horse pack, a horse herd is the same exact way. There's always a leader. Sometimes with horses, there's two leaders. There's the leader for disciplining the herd might not be the leader when they migrate from one place to another, if that makes sense. So they might be different that way, but there's always somebody that the rest of the herd knows they have to follow, given a scenario.
Yeah, I've had very limited experience of horses, but dogs, that's really interesting what you're saying. How do you communicate to a dog that you're the leader? Because a dog is basically physically stronger, faster, more durable than us. So, I mean, I always find it amazing that this big German Shepherd that we have, which is about 30 to 40% wider than normal German Shepherds, it's got amazing strength. I mean, it just when it wants to do something that requires energy, it just always kind of shakes me a little bit because it's often quite docile, and I'm amazed like wow, this thing obeys me. You know, it's just like how is that? How's that possible? You know, that such a strong animal is sort of almost afraid of me.
Right. And he should be, right? So we've not afraid, but respectful, right? Just like you with your, let's say your father, right? You didn't want to disappoint him. You didn't want to get the spanking or the grounding or whatever. You had that fear of your father. It's not an unhealthy fear, right? Fear is a good thing because it comes out of a place of respect. Now, if your father was a drunken abuser, that's going to be a different type of fear, right? That's not the kind of fear we want to have in our dogs. So, but it all comes down to the mentality of the dog. There are some dogs that want to be alpha, that want to be the leader of the pack. Just like, let's say, leader of a country, it's a very minute person or population segment that wants that role, right? There's not very many people that want to be the president of the United States, right? That want to run a country. A lot of people are just like, myself included, I want nothing to do with that, right? It's just not for me. That's the way dog mentality is the same, right? Sometimes you're going to come across ones that want that alpha role, that want to challenge for that. And you're going to come across 95% of them that don't want that. It's a lot easier in a lot of ways when you know what you're doing to convince the dog that wants the role not to have the role than it is for it's easier on the dog. Let me back up. It's easier on the dog if you got one that wants the alpha role to convince him not to be there than it is to take a dog that wants nothing to do with it and by our lack of leadership essentially tell them by default that they are the leader. Does that make sense?
Yeah, pretty much. So when you said like in a wood situation, you'd want the dog to be a leader, what advantage would having the dog in a survival situation in the wood give you?
Well, what I mean by that is, yeah, like we're still, let's say you crash in an airplane and you're out in the middle of nowhere, right? Or you're just living out in the middle of nowhere and it is literally only the two of you to survive. That dog is going to be able to tell you, they're going to be able to see and smell prey that we can't, right? They're going to hear it. They're going to be able to see, smell, and hear danger before we do. They're going to recognize that because it's instinctual for them, right? It's a lot more instinctual because we've been living in cities for so long. It's instinctual for us to walk down a sidewalk and not get hit by a car, right? That is not instinctual for a dog. A dog's instincts draw them to the woods to hunt, to chase, all that kind of stuff. So if we were in that situation, it might be better to just let the dog go. Now, if you've got like a Yorkie and you're out in the middle of the woods, probably not the same thing, right? It's the same mindset that the dog has. A Yorkie has the same brain, the same instincts that a German Shepherd would have. They still have the desire to chase, to hunt, to kill, to whatever they want to do. That instinctual drive is still there, but they've been bred down so much that obviously they're going to be pretty horrible at it, right? As we all would if we just, randomly landed in the middle of the woods and had to survive, dog or human. Take them out of the city, put them in the woods, and it's going to be difficult to survive. But that's why I say it's the things that they have, the attributes that they have, are much better than ours, and that's one of the first uses that dogs ever had with humans was hunting. Dog or humans, when they first started domesticating dogs, that's what they were using them for, was chasing down prey, finding and chasing down prey. And then they would get them, cornered. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Old Yeller, but Old
Actually, I
Yeller,
have seen it. Yes.
yeah. So they used the dogs to chase the hogs into a ravine where there was no escape, and then they got them up on top of them and killed them, shot them, or whatever. That's a very primitive form of hunting. It goes all the way back to sticks and stones when we were using those for hunting. But yeah, so that's how dogs first came to be. That's their instincts, right? They all come from wolves. So if we are stuck in that situation, yeah, probably better let them lead.
I wonder how they managed to tame the